Hi, welcome back to my channel once again. And it's all about sports education, ranging from management, development, policy, history. And today we will look at sports in the colonial era. One may wonder how the European sports culture and sports and physical culture, was transposed into the entire African continent. I am looking at Ghana as a case in this video. And we will look at the European influence on Ghana, which was then called the Gold Coast, extended from 1471 to 1957. And during this period, it's important to know that it's not only the British that solidified their presence in Ghana, but there were also the Portuguese, there were the Swedes, there were the Danes, and then the Brandenburgers of Prussia at the time. It was the British that stayed a bit longer. That was from 1631 to 1957 when they handed over power to the Ghanaian people. So like many Anglophone African countries, aspects of the British culture particularly had permeated the traditional culture of the indigenous people of Ghana. And that was by the mid-19th century. And in pursuit of colonial trade in the 18th century, which demanded that educated natives for interpretation and missionary work for the propagation of Christianity, sports and recreational games became an offshoot, according to Scanlon in 1964, who wrote about this. He mentioned that this attracted the Ghanaian people or the indigenous people into colonial schools and Christian settings. By the 19th century, the British public school system and physical culture of athleticism, health, muscular Christianity, self-discipline, patriotism, sport, physical and moral education, which characterized the Victorian and Edwardian era, became prominent in the Ghanaian physical culture. The export of British physical culture has been said to be part of the British imperial strategy to maintain a strong political front, protecting its interests and territories around the world. However, a Ghanaian scholar called Asari, whose thesis in 1982 detailed and argues that such a system of toughening, disciplining, athleticism, competition, and moral education resonates with the physical motives of the Ghanaian tribes at the time. Well, gradually organized sports and physical education by the mid-19th century had become an integral component of the education and military training and political system of the then Gold Coast. You would wonder the kind of people that were used to ensure that people were trained in these schools and military training. It's important to say that ex-military and sports enthusiasts were used in this endeavor. And they were often used as teachers or trainers in schools. It is important to mention that there were various games that were taught, like cricket, volleyball, boxing, athletics, but football was given the most attention. Now, how was this done? How did the British get this done? This would not have been possible without a strategy. And this is where the Sports Council Ordinance number 14 of 1952 was passed as a law. So for those who say that we don't have sports policy in Ghana and we've never had one before, this was actually the first time in the then Gold Coast. And then onwards, various sports strategies have been built upon this Sports Council Ordinance. And I'll cover these in my subsequent videos. So by the beginning of the 20th century, Ghanaians had fully embraced organized sports, which led to the formation of various sports associations like the Gold Coast Football Association and the Ghana Football Association, the Gold Coast Amateur Athletics Association, which is now the Ghana Athletics Association, Gold Coast Olympic Committee, now the Ghana Olympic Committee. And it's important to say that Ghana participated for the first time in 1952 at the Olympic Games, which was held in Helsinki, Finland. So it means during the colonial time, we participated in the Olympic Games. We will go on to participate in the Commonwealth Games held at Wales, Cardiff, Wales, and I think that was in 1958. So what was this ordinance, this Sports Council ordinance about? What was the strategy and how do they ensure that people are, thought these this is the European or the British sport and physical culture? The ordinance, further established the Gold Coast Amateur Sports Council. And look at it carefully. It was from this period that the Ministry of Youth and Sports, which we see today, you can trace it from this period. And I think this has been captured in some books and some articles if you have time to read. The Sports Council Ordinance established the Gold Coast Amateur Sports Council, and the mandate was to manage sports associations, promote amateur sports and sports for all under the umbrella of the central government, which is the colonial government at the time. The objective was short-lived because it was hampered by inadequate facilities and lack of qualified or trained persons to advance the ordinance objective. And like I said, this was a strategy intended to run and cover the entire country, but it was short-lived because the British had various colonies across the world, I'll put it that way, and they have to ensure that these colonies, live up to their mandate, and so it becomes very difficult to, transfer equipment into Ghana. So the objectives of the ordinance were short-lived. So in 1957, Ghana gained independence. We had a new president who is a strong Pan-Africanist and tried everything possible to ensure that the colonial features had nothing to do with the new era. And so you would see in the history books that so far as football is concerned, from 1958 to 1962, there were coaches that were brought from England, Sweden, and I think Hungary. And if I get their names correct, we have George Ansley from England, we have Solbeck Andreas from Sweden, and then we have Josef Emba from Hungary. And they coach our national team. They did that at until 1962, when the president, as I mentioned, followed by his Pan-African ideas, ended the importation of European coaches. So in a nutshell, this is very important because it's important to know your past, appreciate the present, and then you blend these two to make a better prediction for the future generation to come. I hope you've learned something new so far as this is concerned. Stay tuned to this channel, subscribe. I look forward to providing more education, looking at the global sports in local setting. In my next video, I would look at sports in the post-colonial era. By that, I will start from the immediate takeover of the of Ghana as an independent country until date, to look at what we've been able to do so far with sports, whether there are still some colonial features, or we have invented new strategies to ensure that sports is being managed, or the principles are being executed to the local needs of the Ghanaians. On that note, I want to thank you, and thank you for your time. But before then, you can see this picture on your screen, and I want you to find time. It is free access. I put also the link down here. You can look at it and read more about Ghana, know your sports and physical activity culture, and appreciate the present so that we can make a better future. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in my next video. Have a good time, have a good day, good morning or good evening, depending on wherever you are. Bye.